I felt that this was a needed impact on campus, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'll turn it over to Naya to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Naya. I'm a sophomore mechanical engineering technology major. This is my first year in DPE. I'm also involved in NESB, BOTU, and RHA. Um, I joined DPE because I really want to spread the importance of diversity on campus for my peers who don't really understand the importance of diversity. And being a part of DPE has just been such a great experience, and I look forward to continuing DPE throughout the rest of my college experience. I don't know. I'll just pass it on to Megan because she's our advisor also.
Hello all, sorry about that. I'll just quickly introduce myself and then hand it right back over to them. They are a phenomenal group. I am the Assistant Director for Multicultural, Multi-Ethnic Education. I actually was a diversity peer educator when I was in undergrad at UD, and I'm just really glad to get to continue on this program and really grow and expand it. These students have had a phenomenal year, as even amidst COVID, in creating these wonderful programs, engaging with their peers, having these hard conversations, and really opening people's eyes. And so they'll tell you a little bit more about the organization. Thank you all so much for being here and listening.
Right now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our mission and vision. So Diversity Peer Educators is a program that develops and brings together students, leaders from diverse backgrounds and experiences to drive social justice awareness and intergroup relations through peer-to-peer education and workshops using activities that explore into interpersonal and intrapersonal identities, group dynamics, and power and privilege. Our vision is, as students leaders, to shape the campus environment to understand and promote diversity and inclusion and build a stronger relationships within our community and peers. And we also want to contribute to the development of each student's initiative and position in creating an equitable campus and world. And I just wanted to pass it on to Naya so she can tell a little bit about our history.
Yeah, so DPE was founded in 2016 by Sangeeta and Merida. And one of the first projects that they started was The Culture is Not a Costume, which basically talked about cultural appropriation, especially around Halloween, and like what type of costumes are acceptable and what are not acceptable. And then in 2019, we had 11 members. In 2020, it went up to 19 members, and then 2021, it went up to 29 members. So we're growing more and more each year. And then I can also talk about some of the different programs that we put on every month. For February, it's Black History Month. So we put on, this past February, we put on a video displaying Black artists throughout the campus, and we put a little video together and posted it on our Instagram and got a lot of good feedback from that. For this month, it's Asian American Pacific Islander Month, and our event is going to be next week, and we'll be having people from different Asian American backgrounds talk about different things from their culture and why we should be able to celebrate it here in not only in the States, but at UD. We also had a summer training this past summer with where we all became certified peer educators. And that was like a week-long kind of training for us to be certified in how to be peer educators. We're also doing flyer enterprise consultation where we're spreading the importance of diversity with flyer enterprises because it's not really as diverse as we would have liked it to be. We're also doing different projects with its leadership, and that's something that we're getting on the ground right now, and we're expanding on a little bit more. We also have the Latinx Heritage Month. We do something for that as well. And then we are still continuing to The Culture is Not a Costume. We have the MLK celebration is one of the things that we celebrated last year and had we had a lunch and celebrating the importance of MLK and like what he did for minority students and like his time at UD when he came to speak. And then we also have DPE chats that we host throughout the year that are worth path points for students to come and listen to different topics such as white privilege and microaggressions, so that they can take away the importance of like how they can stand up and be the voice of the underrepresented on this campus. That's pretty much it. I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that.
If you all use social media, we have a Instagram, we have a Twitter, a Snapchat, Facebook, and a Gmail. You can contact us with UD_DPE for Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And for our email, it's dpe@udayton.edu, and our Facebook is UD Diversity Peer Educators. And thank you for letting us be here and present to you guys. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
Sarah, why don't you put that information in the chat for us? Because you was going real fast and I.
Okay, sorry, I'll put it right in the chat for you.
And then you two stay on because we may have questions for you guys during our question and answer period. But thank you all for having the courage to lead and to serve. So I truly appreciate you taking the time to sit with us and explain what you guys do there at the University of Dayton. So you're truly appreciated. I am at this point in time supposed to introduce Dr. Eric Spina, who is the president of our wonderful university. However, I still got 6 minutes, so I'm gonna take some more liberties. If y'all don't know about me, I take a whole lot of liberties because I don't get them often. What I would love to do is to acknowledge the faculty and staff that are on the call. So if you all would unmute and just kind of introduce yourselves, where you serve at the university, and how as alum, just very briefly, how we can interface or use you guys to assist us in helping or working with our students, our counterparts at the university. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm gonna start with Anita.
Thanks, Veronica. Hi, all. I'm Anita Brothers. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations and Engagement at your alma mater. Very happy to be joining you this evening. And you know, the main, I think our main goal here is to have you get engaged with us, to help our students, to mentor our students, to connect our students for internships and jobs. And our office hopes to be the conduit to help, you know, and collaborate with MEC to help those opportunities and create those opportunities for all. I'll pass it over to Amanda.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Roop. I am Assistant Director for Reunion Infinity Programs within Alumni Relations. And so I work directly with the Black Alumni Group. And so I would love to hear from you in regards to how you would be interested in engaging with fellow Black alumni or students as I work alongside the Black Alumni Infinity Group to identify different opportunities, and then also work with the group that is helping to plan the Black Alumni Reunion in the fall. And I'll turn it over to Carlos.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Carlos Stewart. I serve as a Senior Associate Director for Development, Diversity, and Access Initiatives, which essentially means I help raise funds for our beautiful, wonderful, underrepresented, underserved populations at UD. I also serve as a liaison in connecting with the offices that serve our wonderful students. And I am very, very excited to connect with alum and friends of the university and really find the best ways, you know, to figure out how they would like to be most impactful as far as their donor dollars, their time, their ways to really to be volunteers, and just whatever else, you know, they think is important when it comes to connecting to UD. So I would love to continue to be a resource. I've connected to many of you already, you know, and really hear from you on where UD ranks on your list of philanthropic priorities. You know, how can you best serve and connect with our students, you know, and how also I can be a resource and an information hub for you. So I'm really, really happy to be here. I've been at UD for 15 years. And while I'm not an alum, I am a Daytonian. And I know how wonderful this great institution is. And I'm just excited that I get to connect with all of you. And I will pass it on to Ms. Jen Howe to round up our advancement team on this call.
Thanks, Carlos. I'm Jen Howe. I am the Vice President for University Advancement, and I have the great pleasure and honor of working with the three individuals that you just heard from. We lead the entire 86-person staff of advancement, which includes fundraising and alumni and constituent engagement. Really proud of this group and the work that they've done, not just with our Black alumni group, but with several of our other affinity groups. I guess I would challenge you, much like Veronica did at the beginning, for those of you who want to be involved, we need volunteer leaders. We need diverse voices and faces across our volunteer leadership at all levels, whether it's on the alumni board, in our communities, our advisory councils, and even our trustees. So I encourage you, if you have an interest, to step forward and to have your voice heard and your ideas put into action. And so with that, I think I'll turn it over to my two President's Council colleagues, Leslie Pica and Dr. Larry Burnley.
I didn't know if I dare go before my dear friend Dr. Burnley, but I'll go ahead and take it. So appreciate that. Appreciate everybody for allowing me into this space too. So as a faculty member, I'm a professor of sociology. I'm currently serving as the president of the Academic Senate, and I have the esteemed pleasure of co-chairing the University Inclusive Excellence Council with Dr. Burnley, in which really I think for me, just whatever opportunities that I can share in terms of various resources, things that faculty are doing. I am planning on following up with Miss Veronica Morris to let her know about a symposium that's going to take place at the Dayton Arcade. It's a collaboration with UD and the city of Dayton, examining redlining and the legacy of redlining. So expect an email from me there, but certainly opportunities for student engagement to be involved too. So thanks so much, Larry.
Thanks, Leslie, and hello, everyone. I'm Larry Burnley. I serve this university as the Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion. I've been on board here since, July 1, 2016, so I'm coming up on 5 years. I give leadership for the university's overall strategic efforts to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that involves a lot of connecting with all my colleagues here and working with colleagues across the university. I head up the university's Office of Diversity and Inclusion. We have an incredible staff that works in partnership and synergistically, not only at the university, but across the region and nationally and internationally as well, in really doing this work and doing it well. I think the way that you can really help advance our work is really to stay connected. Your voices, your perspectives are critical for us. We need to hear from you. We are hearing from you and others that our lives matter, our voices matter, our narratives matter, our presence matters. And so we have a senior team that understands that, committed to that. And so I look forward to working with you moving forward. I'm going to pass on to my colleague, Dustin Pickett, who is on the screen as well.
Thank you, Dr. Burnley. Hello, everyone. Dustin Pickett. I have the pleasure and the great benefit of serving as the Director of Multi-Ethnic Education and Development in MEC. So this is a new role that I've just taken on, started on the 16th of March. I'm extremely excited to be in this new role and to work to kind of chart some of the vision for the office to implement some education across campus as it relates to implicit biases of diversity and inclusion, and then also to connect with you all as alum to formalize a process for our students to have mentorship opportunities. So that I am definitely looking forward to that, and I will be in contact with you all very soon as we get that process formalized and create an avenue for you to connect with our students. So I'm glad to be in the room, and thanks again for this opportunity to introduce myself. I think that maybe, is it everyone?
I think that's everyone that I see. Did I miss any faculty and staff other than Dr. Spina? 30 seconds. Do want to recognize and say hi and see if he has a few words to Mr. Linton Scotland. He is a past board University of Dayton trustee, in addition to someone heavily involved in advancement and fundraising here at the University of Dayton. Truly a valued resource, a friend and brother to the university. Every time I hear him speak, I just get excited about giving my little $12.15 to the university. So, Mr. Linton, did you want to say anything? Just wanted to make sure that we acknowledged who you were here on this call.
No, I
and to let
appreciate.
people know who you are.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I won't take any time. Sorry I was late. I was actually here for another call. I was hoping to be there at 6, but I wasn't. But really excited to be there and seeing all the alums and the folks that dedicate so much of their time and effort to the university. So truly appreciate that. So with that, just looking forward to the dialogue we'll have today. Thank you.
And two of my committee members, Karna Curitin and Valerie McCall, they are also on the call. So thank you guys for your work. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce to you our wonderful president, Dr. Eric Spina. If you know him, he needs no introduction. He has truly been an advocate for the University of Dayton, for the city of Dayton, and for students of color at the University of Dayton. He has truly made it a mission to ensure that the University of Dayton becomes an equitable, diverse, and inclusive campus, sometimes to his detriment. Sometimes, there's been calls like, we don't know if we want this at the university. And Dr. Spina still has stood in the gap for those of us who look like us. So without further ado, want to say thank you, Dr. Spina, again, for all you do, for all you've done, for all you plan to do. And we truly appreciate you taking the time. There's not many presidents that actually come and devote their time to talking with Black alum at the PW, at predominantly white institutions. So thank you again for making the commitment to us, as well as to the young people who've come behind us. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Spina.
Veronica, there's nothing more important in my job than to be here and to engage with Black alumni. So I love hanging out with Veronica. She just makes me feel good about myself. So Veronica, I thank you for your leadership, which you were here before me, working hard, and yeah, and I know you're continuing to. We do need to give you a little bit of relief from this job, so we can give you another one or two. That's the good news and the bad news. But really appreciate everyone's presence here tonight. I first want to start actually with the students. So last night I spent, I don't know, maybe about an hour and 15 minutes with the diversity peer educators, the Naya, Sierra, and maybe another 12 or 13. Really learning about how their year has gone, learning how the program has developed in extraordinary ways. I tell you, if you had a chance to interact with these students all the time, your chest would be puffed out. There's a lot to be proud of. The courage they show, the intelligence that they add to the university, the creativity, it really is remarkable. It makes us better every single day. And it really is, I think for all of us, very gratifying. There's no doubt, I think one of the biggest changes we've made to date is increasing the percentage of the entering freshman class that are students of color, that are Black students. We've almost doubled the students of color, just about tripled the number of Black students in the entering class. And these students are stepping forward in ways that really not only make us proud, but is changing the institution. So they're not just going to class. They're not just doing experiential learning, but they're becoming leaders in so many ways. And Sierra and Naya exhibit that tonight, but there's many other students who have found their way here. And I don't have to tell you, it's not always easy at a PWI, but they give and they support, and really are changing the institution. So thanks to Naya and Sierra, and the support that they get from MEC is really extraordinary. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is, just goes back to thanking you for being here, We had another one of these in the fall that was well attended and really engaging. And then obviously we'll have the reunion in the fall of 2021. I'm going to be pretty direct. It's really, really, really important for Black alumni to show up, whether it's to a town hall, whether it's to a reunion, whether it's engaging with Emerita and her team, whether it's engaging with Larry and his team. We're trying to change the university. We're working really hard. I just said before, our students are coming here and they're changing the university in important ways. There's a moment here where an awful lot of people are working together. And to Jen's point, we need to get more Black alumni in leadership positions like Veronica, like Linton and others, because the trustees are my boss. I'm not going to be here forever. Whoever comes next, the trustees are going to decide. So, I was told on my way in the door, and it's one of the reasons I came here, that diversity, equity, inclusion are critically important. It's part of the ways that I'm going to be judged. I embrace that. The next president needs to be in the same, better than me, but focused on the same goals. And ideally, it'll be a person of color. So, I would just implore you, please get involved in any way that you can. Get engaged. Showing up really makes a difference in moving universities forward. And that's true for students, it's true for faculty and staff, but it's really true for alums. Trustees hear from alums about all kinds of things. And I'd love them to hear from Black alumni saying, we have a long way to go, but there's some progress in some key areas. Please keep pushing ahead. So, the presence of Black alumni tonight and in many other occasions is just critically important for us to really transform the institution. So I know we're going to have opportunity for Q&A. I'm going to try not to talk for too long. I'm going to give a few updates about the university, but in a particular context. So for those of you who are here in the fall, we talked extensively about the anti-racist action plan. So 11-step action plan that the President's Council, about 34 members, adopted in June, right? We essentially got tired of putting out statements after the murder of Black individuals saying, this is outrageous and we stand with our Black students, faculty, staff, and alumni. We said, really, we need to put action behind that. So we came together in a very short order, pulled together these 11 steps. And in the fall meeting, I did a deep dive on some of these. I want to touch quickly on 5 tonight as a way to give an update. So I'm going to share my screen if you don't mind. Okay, so if I've done this right, you are seeing 11 enumerated items. You got that? Okay. So I'm going to talk about 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11. Just really, really briefly to give you a sense of some areas. We're working on all of these. We're making progress in most of them, unfortunately not all. But I want to touch on just a few areas just to kind of whet your appetite. So I'm going to start with number, let me find it here, number 9. So this is make more visible the history and legacy of UD's African-American community, as well as those of other communities that have traditionally been marginalized on campus. So, this is one that really I owe a lot of thanks to Larry Burnley for opening my eyes as he came to campus and walked across campus, really pointing out, Black alumni, Black students, members of the Dayton African-American community, when they come to campus, they don't see themselves. Latinx members of our community don't see themselves. Asian American members of our community don't see themselves. So what can we do? So this number 9 really is an effort to try to make certain that beyond going to the MLK Memorial, beyond recognizing Marshall Hall, that's part of Stewart, there are other places where the history of African Americans and other people of color is visible on campus. So one thing we've done, another thing we'll announce sometime this summer. The thing we've done, we did a massive renovation of the old music theater building next to Kettering Lab for the computer science program, which is our fastest growing program. And the decision was made to name this after the first African-American female graduate of the institution, Jessie Hathcock, who not only demonstrated courage and perseverance and being told that she couldn't study, but nonetheless she found a way to study at the university. And then she stayed in the Dayton area and was really a legendary figure. And as we thought about, as an educator, as we thought about, how can we take this building that's going to focus on computer science education and make it a visible testament to someone who really embodies the importance and the centrality of education, we couldn't think of anyone more suited than Jessie Hathcock. So that building already has been named the Jessie Hathcock Hall. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to have the traditional dedication. We're hoping to do that this fall. The Hathcock family still resides in Dayton and in Arizona, and they're very pleased about this decision, and they'll be joining us for a ribbon cutting and dedication in the fall. So that's an example of the kinds of things we need to be doing. Another one, and that's the first anything on campus named after an African-American woman. So that really is a point of pride for all of us. And then the thing that's coming in the fall that we are planning to dedicate during the Black Alumni Reunion. A number of universities have established monuments in honor of the Divine Nine traditional Black Greek organizations. And the university has made the decision to do that. We're going to do that in a very visible location to celebrate the legacy and the impact of Black Greek organizations on the University of Dayton campus. So, there'll be more coming out around that, including the rationale and images of what it's going to look like and so on. But we're really looking forward to getting that done by Alumni Reunion and having a group there that really can celebrate the impact of Black Greek life on the University of Dayton campus. So those are two examples of the kinds of things we're doing to make 9 real, as opposed to just being words. Let me identify number 7 now. So deploy marketing and communication assets to support diversity, equity, and inclusion. Again, a lot of credit goes to a number of people. Certainly our Vice President for Marketing and Communications, Molly Wilson, but working closely with Larry and Merida and both of their teams, and Jen Howe and her team, really working hard to make certain that those are assets that are actively being used to support the directions that we are pursuing, including these 11 action steps, but more broadly, the diversity strategic plan that Larry and Leslie are leading. And in particular, if you follow any of the university's social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever else, I hope that you've been able to see, really since the fall, again, a much more active presence. Just recently we put out four videos featuring 4 members of our faculty and staff that are focused on white privilege, that are focused on institutional structural or institutional racism, that are intended to help not only folks on campus, but our alumni community understand some of the key issues that we're working on, some of the key issues that as a university community we need to tend to. So, I think you will continue to see in a more active way our marketing and communication assets really help us move forward the notion that this is a university that is staying true to its values, that's staying true to its mission, but increasingly is looking to transform in terms of our compositional diversity, our equity and our inclusion. So that's number 7. Number 10, work in mutually beneficial ways with the Dayton Black community. So again, this is work with, it's not do for, it's not take advantage of, it's not leverage. It's what we mean here is what we say. It's really work in mutually beneficial ways with the Dayton Black community. A lot of things have been going on for a long time, but we've now had a 4-year history of regular conversations with leaders in the West Dayton, the greater West Dayton community. This is something that Larry initiated and many of us have embraced. It really now is a formal 4-time-a-year activity that we look forward to, that is driven to achieve certain goals and objectives. And really the first project that's coming forth from this conversation, which often includes 50, 60 people, is the Greater West Dayton Incubator. And again, I hope you've seen in our social media, in our magazine and elsewhere, this is something the university is really leaning into, not alone, but with the Greater West Dayton community. This is linked to, Veronica talked before about the hub at the Dayton Arcade. This is linked directly to the hub, but we will be establishing a presence in Greater West Dayton. We'll have staff there, we'll have faculty, we'll have students engaging with the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the African-American community in Greater West Dayton. And so there's much to come. And I encourage you to look for progress here. We have a terrific leader, Carlos Marshall, who's driving that forward with support from Castell Sweet and Vince Lewis. But this again is something that is not the university saying, okay, here's what the Black community in Dayton needs. Lots of conversation about what and how and why. And there's a lot of enthusiasm about the way this is moving forward. So that was number 10. Number 11 is kind of parallel to number 10, and the focus here is really supplier diversity. How can we as a university use our capital? How can we use our annual spending in construction, in supplies? How can we even think about investing our endowment in ways that will lead to greater diversity of kind of where we're placing our money as a business beyond as a university. We have never had goals for percentage of women-owned businesses, percentage of minority-owned businesses as part of our institutional priorities. We're currently finalizing what those are going to be. It's a major step up for us. I know Larry's been involved in those conversations. Andy Horner, our CFO, is foursquare behind them. Sarah Harrison, our director of procurement, is leading the charge, working with members in the community. But this is something that's really, really important, and we've seen kind of an early indication of what we can do through some of the discretionary funds that were spent on developing the arcade. Really a heavy lean in to get Greater West Dayton businesses engaged in, especially some of the finishing touches on the arcade, where the university had some discretion. So really excited about what will come there. This is going to be a journey for us. I expect it'll take us 3 to 4 years to get to our first set of goals, and then we'll continue to push that. But again, it's an important part of us stepping into being an anti-racist institution. And then the last thing that I'll touch on is number 5, more aggressive faculty, staff, and administrator diversification. And I try to be as direct and as clear as I can when I'm talking about these issues. Well, I think the thing we've been most successful at is increasing the compositional diversity of our entering class and the graduation of students of color and Black students. The area where we're really slowest on and there's been the least progress is in this area. right? So we understand that to maintain the growth of the diversity of our student body, the front of the classroom, the staff in the offices, the dean suites, and the presidents and the vice president suites need to be more representative of the student body. So, this is obviously a little bit harder because we don't bring in a quarter of our faculty and staff administrators every year like we do with the undergraduate student body. But there's also been a lot of work that's been done on policies, and I think we made a lot of progress there. And now we're working on some structural issues, including some staffing. And frankly, I'll be disappointed if a year or 2 years from now, I can't say, okay, we've really been lagging behind here, but now we've really started to make some progress on more aggressive hiring of faculty, staff, and administrators. And part of this, I don't have to tell you, is the key is getting the deans on board, and I think the deans are on board, and now working closely with the provost to develop, and Larry, to develop some key mechanisms and some programs to really enhance the faculty diversity in a significant way. So again, that's my form of a campus update. It's not all of those 11 things, but it's 5 that I thought we really didn't talk about much in the fall, and I thought you would appreciate hearing about those a little bit. So I'm going to stop my share. And I probably haven't been watching time, but I'm probably going over a little bit. So I'll simply say that I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm gonna bounce it to Linton. I know he's here, but before I do, we've already heard about One Day, One Dayton, and a couple of people said, it's important to support the university philanthropically in any area of your interest. It's similar to being a volunteer leader. Putting specific gifts on the table to support the things that matter to you, right? So whether it's MEC as a whole, whether it's specifically a particular program in MEC, whether it's giving Merida and her staff the discretionary funds they need to do things that really haven't been budgeted for, whether it's some other part of the university, a particular program that meant a lot to you. Any gift of any size is really, really important as we continue to grow the advancement enterprise, as we want to be able to point to Black alumni really participating in ways that will get the attention of the trustees, that will get the attention of the alumni community. And we've had a lot of support already from Black alumni. We can always have more, as we can from all alumni sectors. The team in advancement has provided me a little bit of data. We've had over the last 3 years 455 unique donors among Black alumni. 106 of them are what we call Front Porch Society members. That means giving for 3 consecutive years, and it's that consecutive giving, again, at any level, that really can make a difference. The 3 most common funds identified by Black alumni are the UD fund in general, so kind of the most important or greatest need for the university in a particular year. The MEC fund, so the fund that goes to generally discretion for Merida and her team, but also for some particular purposes. And then Champions and Scholars, which is really to support student athlete and student athlete programs. The average gift size is a little bit under 200. But again, really what matters is the individual exercising of a gift, whether it's $5, $100, $1,000 or more. Really leaning into support for the students like Sierra and Naya and their colleagues, staff like Merida and Dustin and Megan and others. Those are the things that really will allow us to continue to push the university forward. So I know Linton has a little bit, see he's on mute, but I hope he's still there. There he is. So I'll turn it over to Linton for his for his remarks. And I'll just say, Linton has been a great partner as a trustee, as an emeritus trustee, and now as one of our members of our campaign committee. He is the most creative member of our campaign committee, always coming up with new, unique, and really clever ways of advancing the overall operation. So Linton, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Spina. I truly appreciate what you shared today. I think it really resonates with a lot of us as alumni. And, I recall, so you see my background, which is this beautiful Caribbean scene. And so my clothing does not match my background, I'll say that, because I'm not there. But, it's interesting, as I've been affiliated with UD for so long as a student, and then also on the board, and also serving in the engineering, advisory council, and as still as a emeritus trustee of the university. The interesting thing, I recall back to what I've always thought of in terms of the fivefold areas of diversity for the university, and it's in the area of student diversity, staff diversity, faculty diversity, board diversity, and spend diversity. And so I think Dr. Spina touched on all those areas. And, and for me, my field, I'm a chief procurement officer for WL Gore. And so we spend money, and looking at supplier diversity is always something that's important to us as a corporation. And to see the university focusing in that area is also pretty good. So I really appreciate that. As we think about, our beloved UD, and I'm so happy to hear some of the things that Dr. Spina talked about in terms of seeing ourselves on campus and having the campus represent us. And I think that is very, very important. And so for me, that's why our voice is critical, and whatever we can do in terms of our time we give to the university, our resources from a treasury standpoint that we give to the university, and our talents that we give to the university, giving back is critical. And so I think, for us, that aspect of, the UD fund or the MEC fund or Champions and Scholars, I'm reminded of that because I had a really good discussion with someone that we, while I was at UUD on the board, was able to move forward the Myron Orbach Scholarship. And so you guys may not know, but Myron Orbach spent a lot of time recruiting students in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. And so some years ago, we started the Myron Orbach Scholarship and to help students, and again, these are students of color, and the work that is being done there. And so that's one area that for me is really important. But again, the MEC fund and then the MEC fund and UD fund, these are all areas that we can participate in. And so I encourage you as alumni to really support that. And I think one last thing I would say is Dr. Spina mentioned something that's very important. And I think part of it is we need to show up, right? We really need to show up because this is our university also. I mean, for me, when I go to UD, I feel like, yes, this is a place that I belong. This is the place that I went to school at. And so as alumni, this is important to me. As a student, this is important to me. And I think more and more of us need to show up. So I echo Dr. Spina's comments in that area, that we need to show up, and not only in terms of being on campus. So when we look to the Black Alumni reunion, we need to show up, right? We need to have a presence on campus. And even for this call, I really appreciate the staff and the faculty that take their time to be here. And so for me, I'm saying, how are we showing up? How are we showing up to those important discussions where we have the president of the university, we have the other staff and faculty who are making this effort? How are we showing up? So that's my charge to us as alumni, to show up in terms of our time, but also to show up in terms of our talent and our treasury. So with that, I just, I'll leave it there, but I really appreciate the opportunity and the tireless effort of people like Amanda and Anita and Dr. Burnley. And it was great that we were on diversity panel discussion with some students a few weeks ago on Carlos and all the work that you guys do. I just really want to say truly, truly appreciate it. And Merida, thank you so much. You were the host, you were hosting us on that and interviewing the students, and that worked out really well. I really appreciate that. So again, that's my charge to us as alumni to really show up.
Thanks, Linton. Appreciate your friendship, appreciate your leadership, and appreciate really the advice and counsel you give us on a regular basis. You really do make a difference here. So I yacked for way too long, so we're behind schedule now, Veronica. So I think we'll turn it over back to you, right?
That's what Amanda told me in my script. You know, she keeps me scripted, so I'll stay on task. I don't know how well that works, but